Hello and welcome to the Leadership Summit here at Western Illinois University. I am your host, Quentin Parker, and I'm excited to have as my guest today, StaceyMacchi. Stacey is an assistant professor here in the Department of Communications at Western Illinois University and is currently the first-year experienced faculty associate at WIU. Additionally, she serves as honors coordinator and co-chair of Career Preparation Day for the Communications Department. Welcome, Stacey, and thank you for being here today with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so our first question to you today is, what is the instructor and the professor's leadership role in higher education, and why is that important to us?
In higher education, I think when I think about it, I can think about it from two different points of view, from the student point of view and then from the instructor point of view. So when I think about my college experience and going through the 4 years and then the master's program, I think about those professors that made a difference. Those are the professors that made me want to learn more. Those professors that made me want to do what it is that I do today. And so when I think about it from the student point of view, I think it's essential, it's integral, and you have to, as a student, find and connect with those instructors that you really feel like are making a difference in your life. So now it's really strange, right, being on the opposite of that, being in a department and teaching on a daily basis. I get really excited about it. I'm really passionate about it because I think I have the opportunity to change a life. And so I think when you think about the role of an instructor, it's a person who's going to help a student potentially become what they were meant to be. And so that's a huge opportunity.
So let's talk more about that opportunity to help students reflect on that and become more aware of, what their opportunities are. Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts on the student's experience and how the professor actually shapes their experience? Like what specific things do you try and do to shape their experience?
I let the students know up front, my students, that I have really high expectations of them. I do. There's not a question. They know first day coming in that they are going to have to work and they are going to have to work hard. But I promise them that I will come to class every day. I will make the classroom engaging. I will make it as fun as I possibly can for them, but they will have to work hard. I think that they know after they've had me for a week or so, if they've never had me before, that they're going to get passion every day, they're going to get energy every day, they're going to get excitement every day, but they're going to have to bring their A game too, just like I try to bring mine every day.
Okay. So what would be one thing you would say inspired you to be the leader you are today?
One thing that inspired me, I think back to how hard it was that I wanted to achieve more. Like, I'm a person who's very goal driven, and so for me, I always just set another goal and set another goal and set another goal. And I think my mom probably did the best that she could to instill that in me, and I think that's probably why I just kept trying to set goal after goal after goal. I wanted to make her proud. And then I just always wanted more, to achieve more, to be more, to learn more. I still learn more. Like, I read it all the time. Yeah.
So in the FYE first year experience, University 100 course for incoming freshmen here at Western, I forget which chapter it is. I think it's chapter 3, Time and Money.
Oh yes, Time and Money Management.
Talks a lot about goals and goal setting and things like that. And I know that's something you probably put out to your students. How do you get them to understand the importance of setting goals and how to incorporate that into their everyday lives?
So for our first year students, early in the semester, I try to tell them and ask them, school is very important, otherwise why are you here? So I kind of pose that question to them right away. Why are you here? Is it that you were forced to be here from a parent? Hopefully not. I hope that when I'm talking to them, I say to them, I hope that you're here because you want something else for your life. You want something more for your life, you want something better. And so if you do want to be able to get to those things that you want in your life, I'm a person that can help facilitate you to get those things. And I try to talk to them about, this is a class, University 100, where you should want to be in this class because I'm going to be here to help you set goals, to talk to you about being a good student intellectually, physically, socially, and emotionally. And why wouldn't you want help? Because hopefully you're here because you wanted to do well. I'm the person that can help make that happen along with their peer mentor because they should want to do well their first semester and then every semester after that. And so by me helping them and talking to them about goals, if they can nail down what it means to really set goals that are attainable their first semester, then they should be able to be successful every semester after that. And so I say, why wouldn't you want that? Why don't you want to be successful? That's what we're helping to set you up to do.
So some of the young students have trouble understanding that some of the things that they're going to have to do, they may not want to, like setting goals. It may be sort of something that may be beneath them from their point of view at this point.
Sure.
And there are going to be several students that you won't be able to reach. How do you reach even farther to try to get to those kids who are totally shut down when it comes to some of those ideas?
So I try to really build a good culture in my class of connection with them. So from day one, I'm always asking them questions. So what did you do this week? How are you? What's happening in your residence hall? Did you go to any organizational meetings this week? Because with me, I feel like if I can get to know them personally, then it makes it a lot easier to know when something is off with them when they're in class. And so those kids who either maybe think this class maybe isn't really for them, or they feel like they already have their goal set, those are the ones that I try to even reach out to more so one-on-one. So for example, if I have a student that I notice that isn't coming to class or missed a class and there was an assignment due, so I'll email that student and say, hey Danny, I noticed that you weren't in class today. I just wanted to make sure everything is okay. We missed your presence in class today. If there's something you want to talk about, let me know. Just so that they know that I have noticed that they aren't there and they are missing X, Y, and Z, which is important for them.
Okay. So from your experience in leadership in higher education, do you believe that leaders can be taught some of these different skills that you're talking about? Or is this something that you feel like people are born with?
That's a tough question. I think it's kind of a combination of both.
Yeah.
You interact with people all the time. I interact with people all the time. There are people who others just gravitate towards.
Yeah.
You don't know why. There are those people who are so magnetic, you just want to be around them, you want to talk to them, you want to hang out with them, you want to learn from them. And so some of those individuals, I think they just have naturally, whether they were born with it, whether they have just through the experiences in their life been able to somehow morph into that person that people want to be around. But I think even those people who are born with some of that natural magnetism or that natural leadership ability, those are the people that hopefully want to learn more about how to be a good leader. I think just because you have that magnetism doesn't always, of course, mean that you're a good leader. So you have to maximize your potential. And so hopefully, I think there's a nice combination of both in there.
Maximizing potential.
Oh, yeah.
Very interesting. Okay, so you are overseeing the entire instructor force for first-year experienced professors.
Yes.
For the most part.
Yeah, I work with.
How many different professors or instructors are you coordinating?
So for the first year experience, I work with Associate Provost Parsons in FYE. And so we have two different first year experience classes that students have to take and pass as a graduation requirement.
Right.
So they take University 100 and then they take their FYE-Y course, so pre-professional or gen ed course.
Right.
So in the University 100 course, we have roughly about 58 instructors. Some of them teach more than one section, obviously. This fall, we actually have 27 new instructors teaching University 100 for the first time.
Including myself.
Including you. And then in the Y courses, we have about, roughly about the same. We have about 60 or so faculty members on campus teaching the Y sections. And they teach more than one section. So this fall, we actually have 77 sections of University 100 and 77 sections of Y courses.
So what are you using to try to get some of these instructors to take upon some of the ideas and ideologies, I guess you would say, that you and the rest of the staff have for these instructors?
So one of my goals when I came into the FYE faculty associate position was to try to really help instructors be the best that they can be in any way possible. So I'm the kind of person who, if they have an idea, of course I want to listen to it, because if they think it's important, I should think it's important, because I teach the class too. So last spring, one of the things that I came up with and worked with our FYE team. We've got several different FYE teams on campus that help us with all of these different programs that we have. We came up with a very hearty training schedule this past spring and this past summer for all of the instructors. So we had over 30 training programs throughout the course of the summer. So everything from let's dissect the book and talk about each chapter at a time, to what do you need to know in case of emergency, how to engage your peer mentors. So we had trainings all summer long, which is one of the things that we tried to do to get instructors to be ready to go into the classroom in the fall, both for University 100 and for our Y faculty. And then to try to help the instructors know what they need to know I send them, of course, weekly emails on Fridays, FYE Fun Fridays. Sometimes they're a little long, but they have a lot of really important announcements. So I'll send emails to the University 100 instructors and also the Y faculty members on campus. We have a Western Online page dedicated for resources for our instructors. We also use the Facebook page. We have an FYE course instructor Facebook page where we post various kinds of things. And then I do a lot of one-on-one work with the instructors as well too. So just earlier this week I had an instructor come in for about 45 minutes, had some questions about Western Online. So there's a lot of one-on-one work as well too.
So we were talking a little bit before, and you were telling me how you're up pretty early in the morning sometimes, or all the time. And you're like myself, you don't sleep as much as most people, somewhere in the range of 5 to maybe 5 to 8 hours. So how do you find time to maintain this kind of schedule and be the leader you are every day?
Time management.
Yeah.
It boils down to time management. So I'm a very, very strict scheduler. I'm an old school paper planner kind of person. I mean, I need that paper planner. So, and of course it's hourly. So office hours, of course, go in classes because I teach, in addition to being the FYE associate, I also teach this fall I'm teaching 5 classes.
Wow.
So that is obviously really important. Weekly meetings, and then those blocks of free time. I mean, there are certain times when I just have to block out, I need to do this or I have to work on this. So for me, it's really, really strict time management.
Okay.
I mean, very strict.
So you have your book planner or your paper planner for your planning. What about organizational skills? What's your best organizational tool?
Oh, goodness. That is a great question, too. I'm a color coder.
I am too.
I color code a lot of things in my office. In order for me to stay organized, everything has to have its place. So there's a file, I have a little file folder for all FYE stuff. I have a little file folder for class stuff, for each of my class things. I have a file cabinet drawer for each one of the various classes that I teach. I have a shelf full of resources for each class that I teach. None of it gets messed up. So for me, it's keeping things very well organized by color coding.
So you're one of those people that your stuff never comes unorganized?
Oh, it does, but then it's like, oh my gosh, I need to organize this.
Okay,
I need to get this back organized.
I call myself one of the most organized people you probably know, just because like there's chaos to it, but more often than not, it's pretty organized. But for 2 or 3 days in a row, it may just come unglued completely while I'm off doing something else.
I mean, to-do lists for me, I mean, there's always a to-do list. I never not, that's a double negative. So my English colleagues out there, please don't yell at me. But I always have a to-do list. There's never a day when there's not something on the to-do list.
I think that time management was one of the things that really changed my life and my career because once I figured out how much time I was wasting and how I could better use that time for long-term goals or whatever short-term goals that I had, it just totally changed my life. And so for me, going into the first year experience in the University 100 classroom, that was really the message that I have for them. And it's just like, if you get nothing else out of this course, it's how to manage your time better. And I forced them for a whole week to log their time by hour. And most of them were really surprised about how much time they were wasting. They were like, man, I spent a whole day just doing other stuff one day and got so much done. Thank you for just pointing that out to me. So we've talked about your planning tools, your organizing tools, leadership tools. What about evaluation? How do you reflect on the work that you do?
For me, I try to set semesterly goals for myself as well. So what are the things that I want to accomplish this semester or this academic year in all areas? So I try to set, similar to the students, like I'll try to set a personal goal for myself. So what is it in my personal life that I want to achieve this year? What is it in FYE that I want to do this year? What is it in my communication area that I would really like to see happen this year? So for me to be able to stay on track, I kind of use my goals as a way to look back to see, did I work hard enough to meet this? If I didn't meet this goal, why did I get sidetracked, or what happened? How did the goal change? So for me, that's a big thing for me, is to set my own goals. But I think in part, in addition to setting the goals, for me, a lot of it has to do with attitude. Like, I'm the kind of person that tries to find the silver lining all the time, really, because I mean, I'm a lucky person. When I think of the grand scheme of life, I'm a very lucky person. And so I try to be positive. I try to project that positive energy onto the students and say, listen, you know, it's okay if you have a bad day. Everybody has bad days, but there's always something that you can look up or that you can look for and say, you know what, my day wasn't bad. This isn't the worst day that I've had. This is something that I can be happy about that happened to me today, or that I can take out of this day or learn from this day. So attitude is a huge part.
Yeah, and I may have misspoke when I said that time management was the best tool, because time management and perspective probably go hand in hand, because as opposed, you look at your time management, and one student told me, she said, well, if I write everything down and I don't get it all done, it seems like I just didn't get it all done. And I said, well, if you look at the list, if you look at how many things you were trying to accomplish, if you left 2 or 3 of 25 things undone, that's a really good number.
That's a great day.
And then I said to her, well, that probably means that those 3 things weren't just as important as you maybe have thought they were. That might give you a little insight to where those things fit in your life. And she was like,
How about that?
How about that?
Light bulb.
So I think when you talk about perspective, you know, those 2 things will be probably on the top of my list of things to hand down to those students too.
You know, when we talked about time management a couple weeks ago, one of the things that one of my peer mentors and I talked to the students about, procrastination.
Yeah.
Right? And so we came up with, there's this cute little book called Eat That Frog. And so we talked to the students about how a frog in their life represents the task during the course of a day that they do not want to do, and that they should eat that frog first.
Yeah.
Because then everything else that comes after that frog is not as hard as eating that first frog.
Everything just takes care of itself when you get the hard stuff out of the way.
Yep.
All right, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the, not negative, but bad events that students can encounter. What are some good and bad events in the student's career that might give them a better perspective on how to be better? So things that might not be great, you know, getting in a course that's hard, or having a professor who they might not understand. How can those events shape their experience here at Western?
I think they impact them a lot. So I'll give you an example. So last spring, I had 2 students who were roommates. One of the students got arrested. The other student who didn't get arrested used the arrest of his roommate as fuel for how he did not want to end up, because they were from kind of the same area back home. And so he came in and talked to me, and we talked about how he and his mom and his grandma had this long conversation about, you know, what happened to his roommate and how they didn't want that to be him, and he didn't want that to be him. And so he used that as the driving force for being better. And for the rest of the semester after that happened, he was a better student, tried to be an overall better citizen. Now that's a little bit, I think, of an extreme answer, but I think students have to realize that things aren't going to be perfect. And that's hard for oftentimes incoming students, because some of them feel like, and not to generalize, but some of them feel like they have it figured out already.
Right.
They might have some aspects of their life figured out, but I tell them, you're going to go through more changes these next 4 years than you ever will at any other point in time in your life with people who are the same age as you. So even though you think you have things figured out, something will change that. So maybe it's a hard professor. Maybe it's doing poorly on that first exam when you thought that you studied. So they have to use some negative, something that they don't like, and they have to reframe it and change it into a positive. So if they are having trouble with a professor, go talk to that professor. It's not going to get any better if they don't actively seek to change it.
Sure.
And I think that's kind of the hard part, is that they think it's just going to magically get better, but not without them doing something about it. So
without a little effort.
They have to put in. They have to be willing to put in that effort.
So when you find good students, how do you nurture them so that they can become better citizens of this wonderful world we live in?
So I always try to, when I good students, it's phenomenal when you see them and you know that they have potential like beyond what you've seen in years. I'll try to suggest things to them. So for example, the peer mentor that I have now, I had her, she's a junior. I had her when she was a first-year student, very first semester, her first-year student. During the interactions that she had with the other students in that class, I would say things to her like, have you ever thought about joining hall government? Or have you ever thought about running, for an exec board position? Or do you know anything about being a peer mentor? Or have you thought about going to the whatever, or Students Today, Leadership Forever kinds of things. And so I try to subtly suggest things that I think that they might be good at, just saying, you have a lot of potential. I think you should really consider this. That's what I try to do. Hopefully it helps.
Have you found that to be a good subtle push for them?
I think so, because sometimes those good students, they need more. They want to know more. Sometimes they don't know all the opportunities that are out there, and so I think by just subtly suggesting things, sometimes I found that they go investigate. So if I suggest something that they don't know about, they'll go check it out. And then they'll be like, oh, so I went and looked at this, and so I have 2 students right now that I think should apply for a scholarship. So I sent them this link and I said, I think that this is something that you could absolutely achieve. Why don't you check this out? So both of them email me back and they're like, well, would you be willing to write me a letter for this? Because I went and looked and blah, blah, blah. And, well, of course, that's, so.
I try and relate my passion in one aspect of life to another. And I try to pass that along to anybody who's asking for ways to try to find motivation.
Oh, yeah.
How many ways can you compare academics to life and connect those two ideas?
I don't think, whatever you do, like I'll tell the students, it doesn't matter whatever you do, you put your heart into it, you put your soul into it, and if you want to do it, you're going to do it. Life, academics, the same thing. You've got to do it yourself. Put your heart into it, put your soul into it, and do it.
So 2 more questions. The first question would be, if you were to get amnesia, let's say you fell and hit your head.
Okay.
What would be the one tool you would say you would want to help you remember your particular leadership style and who you wanted to try to accomplish to be?
I would want to have my planner. If I had amnesia, I would want somebody to go and to find my planner and to bring my planner, because I write so many things in that planner. Like when I'm a kind of the person who reads like 4 or 5 books. I've got them all over the house. And so I'll write. I know. What could you say, right? So like I'll write down like favorite quotes and things. It's kind of my own little nerdy thing. But I'll write down things that I remember from books inside of my planner. So I'll have stuff like that in there too. So. It would have to be my planner. If I had amnesia, I'd want to find my planner.
That's interesting. And my planner is a really big staple in what I do every day too. And I'm also writing little notes and stuff everywhere. And I'll find them and be like, what the heck was I thinking when I wrote this?
What was that?
What was that about? But it's somewhat interesting at the time. But very good. All right, final question. Now this is somewhat of a difficult question for a lot of people.
Okay.
But what is the most important decision you make every day?
Have a good attitude.
A good attitude?
That's not the difficult decision, though.
No?
No. I wouldn't call that a difficult decision, but it's the most important decision I make every day, is to have a good attitude.
Well, very good. Well, Stacey, I appreciate you being here today.
Thanks for having me.
And we wish you luck in all the things that you do on campus here at Western.
Thanks, you
and
too.
have a great semester.
You too. Thanks.
All right. I would also like to thank the University Television staff for their help putting this program together. And until next time, I'm Quentin Parker, encouraging you to get out into your community and reach for the Leadership Summit. Have a great day.